Today we're going to be doing a few different things. We're going to be doing build background as well as vocabulary, and then talk a little bit about expository text. There will also be, so just pause the video at any time, and then there's also going to be a Google document that includes all 3 activities that we're going to be talking about today, where I'd like you to complete that and fill that out and return it back to me. I'm going to show you, let's go ahead and share my screen here. I'm talking myself through it so I don't miss anything. So we're first going to start with build background, and I'm going to start with this video here. Hear it okay? You can also see the subtitles at the bottom. So I want you to send me some wonder questions that you see about this photo here. That will be in the document. So I wonder whatever you wonder. How did democracy develop is the essential question this week. And I'm going to go ahead and read through what it would be in your workshop book. The curious arrangement of stacked seats is all that remains on the Boletarian, a building built around 175 BC for a special purpose. People in the ancient Ionian city of Perrine governed themselves. The demos was an annual assembly of all citizens, and the Bulli was a smaller elected council of 640 people. The Boletarian was a place for the council to meet and decide important issues such as the U.S. Senate chamber is today. Okay, so when this is a photo of the Boletarian, and what happened here was the foundation or the basis for democracy. So in the ancient Crete, people governed themselves in their annual assembly called the demos, and they elected in different officials and talked and discussed about important issues. So you can kind of even see how it's set up in comparison to how our Senate and even House of Representatives, that main chamber, is. Continuing on, let's go ahead and do vocabulary. Just thinking about it here. Next to the word, I'd like you to put your number next to that word. Okay, so we have aspiring. When you are aspiring to reach a goal, you are seeking to accomplish it. So go ahead and pause if you need to, if I'm going too fast. At the tryouts, we heard many singers who were aspiring to perform in our school talent show. So these students are aspiring to perform in the school talent show, so they are working to accomplish to be a part of that, and they have to most likely try out and be accepted into the talent show. A synonym for aspiring could be to like goal setting, and you it wouldn't be accomplishment, seeking to accomplish. Sorry, there's an announcement. Our next word is foundation. A foundation is the basis on which something is built. So a house is built on a foundation. So you build up from that. You have to have a solid foundation. Same with your math concepts. We're not going to start with the really hard stuff that you guys are doing now when you're little, like in preschool and kindergarten. You're going to start with the basics of understanding what numbers mean and how to add them and subtract them, and eventually work to harder concepts. So you're going to develop a foundation first in order to build on that. Learning to dribble the ball is a good foundation for playing basketball. I'm not sure the answer to this next question because I do not play baseball, but what is the foundation for playing baseball? Maybe throwing back and forth. I might need help from some of you boys and girls for softball. Moving on to the next one, we have preceded. Something that came before something else preceded it. If you see the word pre within that, that means before. The Grand Marshal's float preceded the rest of the parade, meaning that it was at the front or the beginning. If you preceded a friend in class, who would arrive first? It would be you, because pre means before. Okay, so you can see that the Grand Marshal's float preceded the rest of the parade, so the rest of the parade will follow the Grand Marshal. Principal. Make sure you put that number down. The principal part of something is the most important part. The principal ingredients of an omelet are eggs, so the most important part of that. What is the principal ingredient in your favorite meal? I know that one of my favorite meals is sushi, but I'd say the principal part is fish, but not as for that's my favorite part maybe. So maybe the most important part might be the rice, because that would be the most consistent thing in all pieces of sushi. The principal part. All right, continuing on. We have promote. When you promote an idea, you help it grow or progress. Many zoos promote the idea of animal conservation. So there might be, we've talked about a lot about the election right now. So when you promote an idea, you help it grow, you help the idea grow. So if you promote certain things for the environment, you're helping it grow or progress to an idea that it's important. It's obviously going to be something that's important to you. What idea do you think is important to promote? I definitely think helping the environment is something that's important to promote. So seeing this here, you can see animal conservation is a really important thing to promote. Many zoos promote that. Restrict is our next word. If you restrict something, you limit or confine it. I know that we have to restrict where my puppy goes, puppy Winnie goes in the house to make sure that there's no accidents. So we limit or confine her to certain areas of the house so that we can always keep an eye on her. Using a leash can help restrict a dog's movements. How else might you restrict a dog's movements? Putting puppy Winnie in a kennel at the night, during nighttime, so that she's not wandering the house is very important for behavior. Oh, that's funny. Look at that guy. He's like falling over because the dog's pulling him. Moving on to the next one, we have speculation. Speculation is ideas or discussion about why something has happened or might happen. So cloudy skies lead to speculation over the chance of rain. So it's almost like there's speculation on what happens or what's going to happen. What speculation happens in a detective story. So you might know minimal amount of clues. So you might speculate who the murderer was in a detective story, or you think about the game Clue, there's speculation on who might be the murderer within the story. Why might you speculate if there's cloudy skies? You might speculate, oh, it might rain, and that might be a clue as to what you think is going to happen or what has happened. And our last word for vocabulary is withstood. To have withstood something is to have resisted or held out against it. The lighthouse withstood the hurricane's force. How are the meanings of withstood and survived similar? When we think of a hurricane, if something withstood a hurricane, it survived, or it was able to get through something, resisted falling apart or getting damaged. All right, so that is the end of vocabulary. All right, the last thing is expository text. And you guys know a lot about expository text, so I'm not going to spend too much time. Expository means to inform. It may be about a topic from history. So here's some things to add to your notes. You guys know all about a bunch of different text features. So we're just going to talk about a couple more. So maybe about a topic from history. It may include headings, diagrams, and charts. And pause at any time to make sure you make this into your reading notes. Charts often summarize information and compare related details from the text. And then diagrams often illustrate specific ideas from the text. So I wanted to show you our shared read, maybe if I have it out. Let's see here. Do have it? Maybe, just maybe. There it is. So right here on page 111, oh no, did it reload? So at the top of page 111, there's an example of a chart. So looking at our notes here, a chart summarizes information compare related details in the text. So if we look at this here, it brings up, and we'll be reading the shared read together, and it just depends on when you have remote learning when we talk about this in class, because we'll be talking about it a little bit in on Tuesday. So we have each of the philosophers that are brought up in the shared read. And this kind of gives the brief time, like when they lived and what their general ideas were and how they compare and how they're different from one another. But this gives kind of a simple chart to look at rather than having to look back in the text, which is really nice. All right, you guys, questions, definitely let me know. Go check out the each of the parts that cover what we just talked about. If you have any questions, email me.